Okay. The contents of this meeting is now being sent to YouTube. Okay, well, that's the first time I've seen that. They must be changing up the way things do so. Good morning, everyone. My name is Sheila Corona. Welcome to New Light Streaming Love. Today is Saturday, January the 18th, and pardon me for just a moment. I need to check on something really quick here. As I've shared before, we are in the midst of illness and moving and packing and all of those things. So bear with me. I just got a message from my house team. Oh, well, that's very sweet. I'm being offered help and assistance in the packing. However, I'm pretty much good to go. I mean, I've been going through, and what do you think? These are my back to my old glasses. Well, they're not they're the same prescription as the other set, but I kind of liked the gold ones, and that's why I changed up and was wearing them. They broke, and I'm gonna be taking them to get them fixed, hopefully today. It doesn't look like it should take much, but at any rate, so but you know how it is, even though it's the same prescription, because the lenses are different size and whatnot, my eyes have been having a time adjusting this morning. Anyway, I hope everyone's doing well. Um, I cannot tell you enough how I am so grateful to have learned about and I don't even know how to pronounce that. And in case you weren't here the other day when I shared this, I I started taking this homeopathic remedy along with elderberry syrup and another homeopathic remedy called Chestall. And I believe, well, I thought I had gotten another one, but I guess I didn't. And of course, I also, the minute I get ill, I start taking grass-fed bovine colostrum. And what could have been um, probably a pretty dangerous thing for me. Uh, Anytime a lung situation comes up, I have, well, they claim I have severe COPD, and I do feel like some of that has been because of I was a smoker for a long, 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 long time, and then I was also terribly dehydrated for most of my life, and it is our vital organs that requires half the body's weight in ounces every single day, I learned, because if it doesn't get enough in order to support the rest of the body, those vital organs will start stealing fluid from other areas of the body. This is why I feel I ended up losing 4 inches in height, because it's the only thing that could, in my view, uh, explain how it is that at 57 and 58 and 59, because it took those 3 years to incrementally gain that height back. I mean, everybody's heard of old people shrinking, but have you ever heard of getting your height back? Hmm. Nobody could explain it to me. None of the doctors I saw could explain to me how in just 7 months' time I regained 2.5, almost 3 inches of my height back. And I watched my doctor go through my record looking for the mistake, and she never found it. I also oh wow, we had this card this past week, I think, just very recently. See, to me, when those kind of things happen, it just wants to reiterate to us uh, the fact that, and especially this one for me, because I really do feel like this is what's rising on the planet, Christ consciousness, um, in a very real sense, even when folks might not term it that, right? But for me, that's what I see happening. Um, wow. Uh, I really, I have been privy to some pretty interesting conversations with different beings and the experiences folks are having with other folks that you would have never guessed were having these thoughts and feelings and, looking at life in that, oh, we got to surrender to trust. Trust yourself and your decisions. Don't be swayed by other people's strong opinions about what to do. Take action and be confident that you have chosen the right path. That's a really big one, okay? I think on the planet, and each and every single one of us have been taught from the moment of our birth, actually, to not trust ourselves. Now, it's an accidental thing, I think, at most of it when it begins, because parents want to protect their children. And I know I've seen the programming and conditioning that I've installed in my own grown son. And I have witnessed that same programming and conditioning being installed in my granddaughter. It's a totally innocent situation. We've all done it to each other for time immemorial. But we are all creator beings. Even the children, really, in my view, moving forward at some point on this planet, all that really will be required is to help the children learn how their physical body works and allow them to find the way for themselves. This is the only way that beings will end up learning how to trust themselves. In my view, again, your individual mileage is absolutely going to vary based on your own experiences over the entire course of this experience in this reality in this physical vessel. And it can be no other way. That's how it's meant to happen, in my view. So let's see what we have here. Let's see who. Oh, okay, okay. The elemental. I have been guided to begin working with the elemental deck on its own for myself. And so later on today, once I get some more things done that I have, like I said, I've got to go out and do, I will be working with this deck. And I also want to say there are four people here now. Well, three probably, because one of them is me, I think, the way it's listed. I'm planning on doing a live intuitive hangout session this evening. Again, don't count on it for sure because, all kinds of things happen. I may end up being just too wiped out after doing some packing and whatnot after I have to go out and do this running around because I am still recovering from whatever that stuff was. But if I can manage it, that's my plan is to do that this evening. And more than likely it would be later on, like 7 or 8 Eastern Standard Time, depending on where you are. It will be, from that. Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Sky Storm Moon is what came out. I love the artwork on these cards too. Sky, storm, moon. Ooh, that one wants to go last, so we're going to hold that one till the end. Okay, so I already read the Surrender to Trust. And I have to say, more and more, I am trusting my inner guidance. And here's my feel about this, okay? And it's taken some time for me to see it in the way that I do see it now. You may have heard me say this before. Even if I make a mistake, and I'm doing it like this for a reason, because if I do something because I feel as though I'm guided, and then I see that it didn't work out the way I expected, and see, that's a very big thing there about expectations, right? Then I will label that as a mistake. But was it? I'm old enough now that I can look in my past and see things that I labeled as mistakes that I know now absolutely were not mistakes and absolutely had to happen. So when I promised myself that I would follow my internal guidance and listen to me, regardless of what others in the out there tell me. It's kind of scary at first, too, because, again, programming and conditioning, and I'm constantly shown where that programming and conditioning is still embedded within even the very cells of this body, right? So for me, that's a really huge thing. And it looks like the fairies want to go next. And it looks like we had some real challengers come out today. And I know from, again, things that I've been privy to and things that I have witnessed myself that there is so much going on for each and every being on the planet, because I feel as though we are being asked to see these things and release them, right? So here, the first one of these two, because two came out that popped up, was the Soul Shrinker. Okay, and the key words for this card are cruelty, malice, gossip, curses, destruction, and blessing. The distasteful task of the soul shrinker is to observe what we say to and about others, especially the mean, nasty, and unnecessarily critical things. I'm going to say that we also do that to ourselves. I've been quite cruel to myself on occasion. I don't know about you. Just was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday or day before. I said, "Oh, well, that was real smart, Sheila," because I stabbed myself in my finger. That was kind of cruel. It was an accident. I didn't mean to do that. So I still think that it can be about you as well. It doesn't have to be that it's just somebody else. By observing our behavior this way, he reflects it back to us, making us more aware of it. This is a bodhisattva, a spiritual being devoted to helping to bring about the enlightenment of all type of job. And it requires great compassion, understanding, and forgiveness if the soul shrinker himself is not to be dragged down to our level. If we are just inwardly spluttering, looking for words, he may even suggest to us the words that express our feelings and energy. Then it is our choice, our test, whether or not we say them. There are two important things about malicious gossip: unnecessary criticism, verbal cruelty, sarcasm, and quote, scoring off of others. One is that it demeans the speaker, makes him less, makes his aura darker, and encourages the behavior as a habit, continually eroding the brightness and potential goodness of the speaker. The other important thing is that this is a way that we actually curse others. Even if the recipient doesn't hear the actual words of the blessing or the curse, even if the words are not spoken aloud, they are carried as discordant notes through the universe to the recipient. Now, I know a lot of people would probably say, oh, that's BS. I'm not so sure. Again, puzzle piece collector me has seen a difference in beings that I have not only held in a higher light, but spoken to in a higher frequency in my head and seen them differently, speak on them differently. That's something that my housemate, Lisa Flamino Rush, was oh so helpful in helping me to see. Everything matters. Our words, our thoughts, our deeds all create. It's creative, right? So, do we want to create whatever it is we're gossiping about because so and so is not doing whatever? I always used to say, if your finger is pointed outward, there's a whole bunch of other fingers pointing back at you. And if I'm too busy worrying about whatever you think you're doing, then I ain't paying attention to my own self. That's my policy in these days. And even seeing or speaking on something that I observe that I don't agree with, that's none of my business. None of my business. Just because I don't agree with whatever it is you got going on out there does not mean that it has anything to do with me or that it's any of my business or that it affects me in any sort of way. So, why do I need to chat about it or even say anything about it if I'm observing something that, hey, it's not for me, doesn't mean that it is not for them. Perhaps it is something they have to go through to get to something else. Because I now remember in every instance, in every being that I witness or come across or anything, that we are all traumatized, programmed, conditioned. And I keep that right here in the forefront of my consciousness, and that helps me not do this sort of thing. We all have a choice about whether we accept curses or blessings as well. Wait a minute, fortunately, that is not the case, not all there is to it, or such behavior would be unforgivably wicked. Not that it isn't pretty nearly that anyway. We all have a choice about whether we accept curses or blessings. If we choose not to accept it, then all of the energy boomerangs back to the sender, who then gets a well-deserved double dose of it. Once long ago, the soul shrinker was very beautiful, but listening to and witnessing all of this human ugliness has rubbed off on his appearance, like that of a lovely frog in a polluted pool with his skin raw and forming hideous growths. His heart is compassionate and anguished. His heartfelt wish is that we learn right speech and right thought. Every wicked thing a human says makes the soul shrinker more ugly. Every time a human learns this lesson, the soul shrinker becomes a bit less ugly. As you can see, humanity as a whole has a lot of work to do on this. Critical and malicious thoughts and words are having a detrimental effect on whatever the situation of these cards is, according to the book here, uh, and the people involved in it. Steps need to be taken to banish this curse energy through love and compassion, or at the very least, through forgiveness and a refusal to accept the curse into oneself. Understanding the implications of this and transforming the behavior and feelings involved is a major and often very difficult step in human spiritual development. One of the things usually involved here is taking responsibility for ourselves and our own feelings rather than blaming others for the way we are. Another part of this is the process to learn to be compassionate toward ourselves. If we can do that, it is much easier not to be horrible to or about others. This doesn't mean that we are supposed to be all sweetness and light all the time. Constructive criticism given compassionately is a part of being real, and reality is a good thing to be in touch with. I couldn't agree more on that. There's a lot in that one to be unpacked by each individual being, as far as I'm concerned, because, as I said, there was a time where I was completely estranged from my grown son, and I used to just mourn our relationship, that what was going on, because Mama didn't approve of what she was seeing and all these different kinds of things, right? But I also know again that he too is a creator being, and he too came here to experience something very specific. I only think I know a part of it because a psychic told me what she got from, her guides about what he did come here to experience. However, I don't know any of that for certain. And so it's not for me, it's for him, right? And so I hold all of that in a very different light now. Our second fairy that wanted to come out this morning is called Faf the Footer. It's card 58. Oh, yeah. And by the way, I wanted to tell you that this one is 55. Fives are all about change, and generally, double fives are a master number. As to exactly what it would mean, I'm not real clear. But I take this as double change for myself anyway. Coming to feel that this is a very real circumstance, and how, because of the way we create, um, it just talks about change there for me, a lot about change. Now, this one is card number 58. Numerologically, I believe, if I did the math right, this should be a 4, which is foundational, right? The keywords here are being real, earthing, grounding, centering. Just as life is becoming surprising, exciting, and very interesting, though not necessarily fun, Faf the Footer, Faf the Foot Fungus Fairy comes along to check out our feet. He picks up one foot in his remarkably strong hands and looks it over for fluff between the toes, smelly fungi, and dirty, untrimmed toenails. If he finds any of these signs of disrespect for our feet And for, you know what's so funny about this? I'm gonna tell on myself right here and right now. I've been promising my body a nice long foot soak all this week, and I have not done it. And so for me, this is a very real thing right now because isn't that interesting? Oh my. Okay. If he finds any of these signs of disrespect for our feet and for Earth Mama, walking on her with grubby feet, yuck, he marks them by making holes in our socks. If things are really bad, he sends mice to eat our dancing shoes, so we will be forced to dance barefoot in the dewy meadows under the moon. If it happens that we have snow instead of dew, that is just our tough luck. Warning, Faf may have fungi on his fingers from somebody else's foot, and if our feet are not clean, both energetically and physically, the fungi are apt to take root. He leaves that foot in the air while he inspects the other foot, lifting it up as well. Having done his inspection job, he wanders off, leaving us standing there with both feet in the air. And, Pfaff snickers, usually confused expressions on your faces. This is not a good position for a human to be in. This is a test. Repeat, this is a test. You have been warned. The test is to get both feet back on terra firma. Do not try to do anything important or make any significant decisions until you have come back to Earth. Anything you attempt to do while standing with your feet in the air is apt to not work. If you are lucky, if you are unlucky, it will work, but not at all in the way you intend or hope. Oh, and here's a quick fairy tip for earthing. I don't think I've ever had this card, to be honest. As I'm reading this, I'm like, I've seen the card, of course, but I've never actually, and if I have, it's been a very long time. Okay, so quick fairy tips for earthing. Stroke your feet gently with both hands, each one for 5 minutes. You can also check for holes in your socks while doing this. Paint your toenails bright red. Then your toes say a cherry or what would be or that could be cheery. Hey yeah, to you when you look at them. And this reminds you to keep them on the ground. Even when you can't see them, it will probably still remind you, especially if you're a man. Well, that's kind of funny. I've not painted my toenails since I'm a kid, so I don't know about that. Breathe, ground, center. If you can't remember how, read, oh, it's all about grounding here. Maintain or recover sanity by staying earthed. Do you do this now? Important information is coming your way, but you can only receive it properly if your feet are on terra firma and your head is well connected to the rest of your body. Wow, that's really quite interesting that this come out right now because as I said, there's been so much going on energetically speaking, and especially for me, it feels that's really good advice. And I would say that it is actually quite foundational as well. Let's see, 10, yeah, that's a 4 numerologically. Okay, interesting that it is rather cold here. Ice the other day. Well, yesterday we still had ice on the ground in my right here in my at my house because there are parts of my yard that are never exposed to the sun. So, very interesting. Now, our Rumi card for today is the Cloak of Christ. And as I said, we had this one last week. So this was or earlier this week. I think it was last week. In the school, and this one is a 4 as well. So it is also foundational energy here for me. In the school of humanity, when you become intimate with God, you reside on the king's throne and teach the angels the nature of the divine. Rumi. My sacred brother, he who shares my heart and yours, beating as one in harmony with the great unending love, brings you the mantle of his protection. Do you imagine that there is any part of your life, of your body, of your soul that is outside the realm of his divine love and protection? Offer all to him. Leave nothing cast aside. He and I together receive you absolutely without condition now. The compassion born out of our own struggles tempers the karmic weight of divine justice. We have been through the same journey you are taking now, sweet divine soul. In oneness with the divine heart, we know of your efforts and your struggles. So what is bestowed upon you now is the restoration of forgiveness, of kindness, of mercy. My sacred brother speaks to you. He shall receive your darkness and your light, the angel of your heart and the demon of your fear. Nothing is greater than my brother's love for you. Nothing is greater than my holy passion for you. Take refuge under the cloak of Christ, the mantle of my sacred brother, and know that you are held in our loving sanctuary. You are tired, beloved. Oh, that is so true of every being on this planet. I can feel it some days, man. Your soul has been ravaged inside and out, and you are succumbing to struggle that is not karmic or necessary, but a symptom of fatigue and weariness of heart, mind, body, and soul. That which plagues you, whether something specific or a general nagging malaise or anxiety that you cannot quite pin down, is not as powerful as you fear. You are being given a grace here and now that it may be overcome. Remember, your reactions are a symptom of your exhaustion and a sign that you need respite, sanctuary, restoration. They are not a sign that something must be done so much as a sign that something must be received, allowed, that something is healing made possible through divine protection. In this instance, protection is bestowed through the cloak of Christ. This cloak is a sacred container that places your body and soul within the loving energy of the Christ consciousness. This unconditionally loving energy is not limited to the being bearing its name, but is shared by Rumi and many other holy ones. It is typified, uh, it is typified by wholeness. There is nothing within you that would cause the Christ to turn away from you, not even those parts of you that may fill you with fear, shame, guilt, or regret. He and Rumi are sacred brothers, loving and supporting of each other, and they see your soul as one of their family. one of their own. You are so loved by them both, equally and without measure. Can you allow yourself to take refuge in this knowledge, to feel it not only as an idea, nourishing as that is, but as a visceral reality where you, man, it talks about completing the sacred honoring ritual. And if you feel like you would like to have that, just reach out to me and I will send a picture to it. I'm a big proponent of everybody making their own rituals. Thereby, you know the meanings of the words that you are putting into your own rituals, and they mean something very specific to you. And so for me, now it doesn't mean you can't read somebody else's ritual and say, oh, I like that. And that means this to me. And I will include that in my ritual. And that's why I offer to send it to you. And allow yourself to feel the peace and receive a healing. The knowledge of the Christ's unconditional love for you is a safe space, a place to fall into when you are struggling. It is a sacred container for your healing process, an energetic field that is stronger and more enduring than even the greatest fears or doubts. The purpose of this sacred container is to provide you with a feeling of being held, especially for those times when you are feeling that you cannot hold yourself. Sometimes we just need permission to break down, to really let go, to come apart and be dissembled so that we can break through, be lifted up, and come together in a new, more spiritually coherent and loving form to move forward. My sister used to send me this song about beauty and the breakdown, I think is what it was called. I'm not quite sure. Um, and that was difficult for me, as I've shared before. The word surrender in and of itself was difficult for me, but I can see where it's important. It was important for me. For you, this is essential. There is a person, place, thing, or belief that has come to be like a manacle around your wrist or an iron ball and leg chain. An iron ball and leg iron, that's what it says, preventing you from moving forward with the grace you have earned spiritually. You are being empowered here to shed that. Don't hesitate. Let yourself be cloaked in the Christ energy and receive the spiritual assistance you deserve now. There is a reason for this. The unfolding of your life purpose is taking a turn for the better, and your energy is required to fuel that new life. This is particularly so if you have also drawn the passion for purpose, which we did not. Just remember that whenever we are asked to release something, it is because the divine wishes to fill our hearts and hands with more. Do not hold on to scraps for fear that the feast will be denied to you. Use your nose. Smell the feast awaiting you. That's very true. And I've been moving through a little bit of that, of course, as I'm going through my things here yet and again for the move, right? I've been well, no, not relatively. The largest amount of money I ever made in my life was $29,000 a year. So not really big bucks, you know what I mean? And things have always been a little hard to come by, things you want. Always been able to get the things that were required, but things that you think you want or desire, right? And so there's a little bit of that programming still in me that says, I don't know if I'll ever have the money to buy that again. So I better hang on to that, even though I haven't used it in several years, right? So there's still a lot of that going on within me. Okay, we have two more cards, and then that is it. The next one that wanted to come out, and I'm kind of surprised it actually wanted to come out because I'm in the midst of learning more about this deck. It is the Alchemy Elementals by Shaman Direct. Sky, Storm, Moon. Sky, Storm, Moon. Card number 69. That is a 6, I believe, numerologically, which is all about balance, harmony, and love. Yes, here we go. And the number on the card actually is an 8, which for me is the upward facing infinity symbol. Wow, there's a lot in this card too for me. Very interesting. There is chaos on the horizon. Yeah, buddy, I would say that's a true statement. Be the calm in the eye of the storm. There is nothing you can do to avoid the difficulty that lies ahead. Trust that your path has been charted by the spirits, that the ancestors are holding you close, and that danger will not befall you. Turn to the light of your intuition to guide you through the darkness. Remember that safety is an illusion and will never be found outside of yourself. Oh my gosh, that's so true. You must turn inward to find the security you crave. You will not incur any harm as long as you stay connected to your inner light. Now is a time for trust and a time for listening. The spirits will keep you safe from harm despite the challenges that are unfolding. I really feel like that's true. I feel as though these last it's 7 going on 8 years now that I've really been paying attention to me and learning how to trust me. All the puzzle pieces that I've been collecting on the out there, because trust me, this gold girl was a conspiracy theorist truther before she ever got involved with getting her health back or looking into the spirituality of it all, right? And I know there's a huge storm brewing. And I know the minute I say storm, y'all see that Q back there and you think I'm referring to that. No, not at all. I left that there because personally, I don't know what all of that was about. But I do feel it came from source in a very real way because boy, oh boy, did it teach folks how to ask questions? And I see that questions interrupt programming. And so that's why I've left that up there. But it's very clear to see that there's a storm brewing. Everybody can see it, mostly because it's the storm in here and it has to go out there because some who aren't looking in here have to lay all of it out to be able to see it. And so I really do feel like, wow, this is a huge, that's why I'm so glad that I really embarked upon that quest in a huge way. Because with the advent of AI, deep fakes, cheap fakes, can't trust the media, and I don't care who it is that are reporting things, unless it's right up here in my face, in my field. I hold it as, well, I guess that could be true, and it also could be false. And I ask myself those questions. This is where the meat of it is for me, because discernment is key, absolutely key in these moments of now. What do I think about this situation? Is it true? Is it something I need to be concerned about? And if so, what shall I do? And I ask myself these questions. So, wow, and how interesting. Look at the colors here. These are two completely different decks, y'all. Two completely different decks, and yet the colors are very similar. And this is asking you to trust you and know that you are a creator being, that Christ consciousness is rising on the planet, and you can trust yourself in that as long as we stay grounded and look inside, not outside. This right here, anybody doing that kind of thing is actually pointing outward and avoiding self, in my view, including me. I've done it. Do not think that I'm leaving myself out of that equation because I am not. And then we have the universe card. Love doesn't have to mean near. Hmm? Near or rear? I don't understand that. Love doesn't have to mean near. Oh, okay. In other words, it doesn't have to mean you're near to someone. Okay. Because it says some are better loved at a distance. Okay, feel that for a minute because that is a true statement. I love everybody and everything now. I don't have to have them right up in my face in order to love them. And even though I love them dearly, I don't particularly care to hang around them because whatever it is that they're moving through is just not for me in these moments of now, right? So some are better loved at a distance for a while anyway, and that's okay. Besides, love doesn't really know the difference. Tally ho, the universe. I just love these cards. They are so cute. But that is a true statement, you know. You don't have to have someone uh, right up in your face in order to know that you love and care about them, regardless of what they're moving through. Because that would mean I would then be stepping over my own boundaries, and I'm not going to do that anymore. Well, that's it for this one. I hope you guys, obviously, there's probably something here for you if you were drawn here, either now or later. And I appreciate you all. If I do go live this evening with a live intuitive hangout session, there will be a community post at least 1 hour ahead of time. You could check. I'll tell you what, I will decide by 5 p.m. Eastern time whether or not I'm going to do a live. And if I do, come back to the channel, look at the top where it says, uploads, videos, da da da. There's one that says, I believe it says posts. Look there, or if we're Facebook friends, I will make an announcement on my page. Otherwise, if you don't see any of that, then I won't be coming to do a live. And I appreciate you all. Oh, yes, one more thing. I still haven't heard from anybody who really is interested in watching this movie with me to see if you want to come and do the book club. I do have a couple of folks that want to do the book club, and that's okay. I get it if not everybody is down with that, no big. I can hold a watch party for this movie. I tried to put it up where you guys could access it on your own time. Uh, and they said, nope, sorry, you can't do that. And not even as an unlisted, I didn't put it out there for public. If but they said no, so I had to take it down. But you can join me free in Zoom, and it's only about an hour and 40 minutes, I think, of a movie, and you're welcome to come and watch it with me. And you just need to let me know when you're available, and we can work that out. And that would be at consciousconversationcentral@gmail.com. Just send me an email. Until we meet again, I hope that you will Move towards that which brings you joy in each moment that presents itself to you. And if you don't feel very joyous in the moment, perhaps allowing yourself a little bit of time to recenter yourself and perhaps step out of one way of looking at it and try to see it from a different perspective, you may find a different way to view it and thereby give yourself uh, a more joyous way to move ahead. Until we meet again, my friends, mwah, be well. Oh, you know what? I wanted to say this because I did record this and I am going to upload it over on Sassy Seer Sheila. If you are seeing this on Sassy Seer Sheila and you have not yet subscribed over here at New Light Streaming Love, there will be a link in the Show More section for you to come over here and subscribe here because it is on New Light Streaming Love that I will be doing the live intuitive hangout session. If you're not subscribed to New Light Streaming Love, I highly recommend that you do so, so that and hit the notification bell so that you're notified when I go live, like now or tonight. So until we meet.